Yo, what's up?
The First Off, in my opinion, podcast.
You know how we do.
Tom Swoop.
Turn this up. Turn this up.
What's going on, my good people? My good people, it's your boy Tom Swoop, and this is the First Off, in my opinion, podcast live from my basement. And we about to get into a few good, interesting nuggets today. Man, everybody has a narcissist close to them. Everybody knows one. And tonight I'm gonna unpack it a little bit because I think we've been throwing around this word so casually, that I think it's become generically used. So I'm gonna break it down because it's a real big difference. It's a real big difference, and I'm gonna play a couple videos. I'm gonna give y'all some information that you're gonna need, because I'm telling you right now, you got somebody you close to, whether it's a coworker, a family member, a friend. You got somebody with these traits that's taking advantage of you and your situation. Okay? So I'm gonna help you out tonight. You're gonna help me out tonight by sharing this post, liking it, turning the bell notifications on for all my people on YouTube. So we about to jump right into it. You know what I'm saying? First, I gotta break down, and define it for you a little bit more. So I'm gonna pull that screen up just a second. Let me get this music together. Here we go. What is a narcissist? Now, if you just look up the definition, you pull it up, a person who has an excessive interest or admiration of themselves. Now, that's very generic. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows somebody who has an inflated opinion of themselves, right? So you can't really go too far off the simple definition of it, right? So now you got to start looking for traits. You got to start looking for things that actually give you some clues to who and why and what and how this person is operating in your life, right? So let me pull this back up one more time, and then I'll pull up this other screen. All right. So a narcissistic personality disorder. Now, this is the difference that I think a lot of people get confused on. So you have people who are narcissists and have narcissist traits. Then you have people who have a narcissistic personality disorder. They're the same but separate. Okay, so people who have the actual personality disorder is actually a mental condition. The people who just have traits, I'm gonna get into a video that explains that a little further, and that's where I feel like a lot of people are struggling, because let's say, and you have to have multiple traits. You just can't have like one or two. You have to have, I think 5 of these traits to actually be considered and have a narcissistic personality disorder. One of several types of personality disorders, a mental condition which people have an inflated sense of their own importance and deep need for excessive attention, admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. Okay? We'll go to the second one. Grandioso, exaggerated sense of importance. Now, see, I'm gonna dig into these a little bit at a time, right? I don't want to do it all at once. Exaggerated sense of importance. Now what makes this one, different is because a lot of people think that's, hey, everybody look at me, I'm the man, I'm this person, I'm that. It's not. It can be different things. It can be that one friend who's like, always like, you guys don't think of me, or you need to be more emotionally engaged with me. You need to, my problems are your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of different things. And I think a lot of people think, okay, so if he's a narcissist, it has to be this outward going personality. No, it doesn't have to be like that. So you got to really unpack this thing fully. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this, the second little nugget. Excessive need for admiration. Now, I also feel like that's a little vague. Like, excessive need for admiration could be also, comfort, or, you know how you got that one friend who just really needs words of affirmation. Now, separately, these things aren't a problem. It's collectively when they have multiple of these traits they have multiple, that's when they start to be the drain. That's when they start to be the energy puller. That's when they start to be, the toxic personality in your group, right? A superficial exploitive relationships. Like now this I will say is going to be, I will say, argumentative, because superficial relationships. Now, are they having real, genuine relationships with people? Or are these just, people I keep around me to make me feel good? And I used to know people like this. Not everybody remember when they were in high school and they had the pretty girl, and she had, she had all ugly friends. Like, everybody knows this girl. She was very pretty and she had all ugly friends. And I always used to wonder, why does this pretty girl keep all these ugly people around her? I mean, like, she's surrounded by the cast of the wig, the flying monkeys. And that is a trait, because they need to feel like at all times, look at me, like, hey, it's me. It's, what I'm saying? So why do certain people keep certain people around them? And a lot of it is control, manipulation, being able to, like, control the movements and thoughts and emotions of their clique. So everything's not like, how can I say it? The thing is, I don't want to paint a picture of, because I think everybody has an idea of who this person is, but you have to add everything into it. Hold on, let me pull this up on the screen. I got a comment. Narcissists have like zero empathy. And that's the truth. That's the truth. That's another one of the traits. They have zero empathy. So that means they don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? They really just don't care. They can't see things from another person's point of view. But the other trait that a lot of people forget, and I'm gonna get into a video that actually explains this a lot further. If they're a true narcissist, if they truly have a narcissist personality disorder, they actually struggle with it. It actually hurts them, the fact that they're like that. Now, the person who has no empathy and doesn't care, and they have narcissistic traits, but the actual personality disorder, that's the person who actually, it hurts them that they're like this, that they actually are they see themselves as needing help because they're so messed up. So you have to identify and separate. And that's what I'm trying to do tonight, because I think a lot of people have confused this word so badly. And they've basically thought that we throw it around so casually that I think it's gotten a little too far. Whereas, here, let me get back on here real quick. So, identity disturbance, difficulty with attachment and dependency. Now, difficulty with attachment and dependency, you really got to look deep into that, especially when you get into friend dynamics. Like, some people, or even relationship dynamics. Have you ever met somebody who, like, refuses to be single? Like, I'm going to be with somebody. I refuse to be alone. I need somebody at all times. That could be a part of that. Like, you have a problem with, attachment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to either be attached to somebody, because being alone is just way too much. If you know somebody, raise your hand. And dependency at a whole, chronic feelings of emptiness and boredom. This is the last one that I feel like is a trait that we sleep on. Vulnerability to life transitions, like simple things that happen to normal people and they're able to move on, but they can't move on because they're a narcissist and they personally feel like, okay, the whole world needs to come and feel like I feel. Like, let's say if somebody, has lost like a family member. Now, everybody loses a family member, but everybody knows that one person who, like, the Debbie Downer, like, it's been like 10 years and they're like, yeah, Clarence used to wear that sweater every, you know what I'm saying? Like, they always make it about their grief, their problem, their situation. They can care less about the moment. They're like, it's been 25 years since Clarence been gone, but guess what? Y'all about to feel like I feel. That's a trait. That's a trait. That's a trait. Now I'm gonna play this video real quick, and I want to get y'all's reaction. Now this is a video clip that I found online, and she dropped a little knowledge. Let's go.
So when we talk about narcissistic personality disorder, there's a long list of patterns, and they have to have 5 of the 9 on that list.
Yes.
It has to be something we call pervasive, meaning it cuts across situations with a variety of people, at work, at home. It's not just like they're narcissistic to only you and they're nice to everyone in the world. It tends to be pervasive. But here's the rub. It has to involve what we call social and occupational impairment and subjective distress. That's a fancy way of saying it is messing up that person's life. They're aware it's messing up their life and they're uncomfortable with it. And that's where you don't see as many people with narcissistic personality disorder.
Now, that's the point I was trying to say previous, that you have people with true narcissistic personality disorder, it actually affects them. Now, the people who it don't affect them, like they can care less about everybody and those are people with traits. You see what I'm saying? See the difference?
So if their style of not having empathy, of being entitled, of being grandiose, of being arrogant and superficial, and all that is working out for them, they're not going to walk around saying, I'm having a problem. They're not going to walk around saying, this is causing me problems. So if they don't acknowledge that piece of it, then really they're a narcissist, which is sort of a clinical term for being a jerk. And we don't get to diagnose people for being a jerk. We may not like them, but that's not a condition we diagnose. We diagnose people because they're bringing in something that they're uncomfortable with or that's causing them problems. The best example I can give you is, let's say somebody's been using drugs for 2 years and their drug use results in DUIs and other problems in their lives, okay? When that happens, they may themselves say, I don't have a problem with drugs, but I do have 5 DUIs and they did find me in the gutter in front of my mom's house. So I guess, maybe there's a problem. In narcissism, they may recognize that, yeah, sure, I got in trouble at work and I was called out on this and that problem and I did cheat on my wife several times, but it's working out for me. Is that distressing? He's being a jerk. So Dr. Dr. Francis is actually one of the architects of this diagnosis originally in the DSM. And he himself has come out very clearly and said, we don't get to diagnose somebody because we don't like them. That's not what this diagnosis is for. It's for somebody who's actually having discomfort and distress because.
And that's the part where I feel like we struggle with the separation. A narcissist person with narcissist traits. This is typically what everybody, because people who actually have the narcissistic personality disorder is like less than 6%. So it's mostly the jerks of the world. So that's what I feel like a lot of people are getting twisted. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is, you know what I'm saying, how to identify the jerk from the person who actually has a real mental condition. If you get what I'm saying. You have people who have these traits and they, don't get me wrong, they're not empathetic. It's all about them. It's never about you. Things that they're going to say to you, like they're going to discredit you emotionally. They're going to make everything is going to converge back on them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, it's kind of hard to see these people because sometimes we so used to seeing them in a relationship that we forget that, like she said in the video, if they're a true narcissist, they're like that at work. They're like that at church. They're like that at baseball practice. They're like that at the restaurant. That's who they are. It isn't like they turn on a switch just for you. Now, that's another thing. I feel like when it does become like an individual thing, that's where you get into more of the gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? And most people like gaslighting. Gaslighting it actually was from a book. No, a play, whatever. Look it up. Where a guy had basically tried to trick his wife into changing her mental state because he would turn down the lights in the house. This is back when the lights were gas. You know what I'm saying? You would turn them down and be like, "Oh no, it's really bright in here," and she'd be like, "It looks really dim," because he didn't turn them down, but he was messing with her mind. And this is what a gaslighter does. A gaslighter manipulates your mind. Like they try to go after things that make you question your own reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, did I say that? Like you'll be like, hey, I find it funny that you didn't come home last night. I did come home last night. What do you mean? I looked, you weren't there. And I was like, I was in the basement. Did you go down there? Well, no. See how in just that little bitty, that's a gaslighter. That's somebody who gonna create some things with your head. Period. And women and men do it. And I'm gonna tell you like this, women are starting to be better at it than men. I thank you, Facebook, for that one, because it's so many different posts that give you all the insight on how to gaslight. But that's the difference between a narcissist. Now, don't get me wrong. A narcissist can be a gaslighter. Gaslighter can be a narcissist. But that's the difference. You have narcissistic traits. You have people who gaslight. But then you also have a narcissistic personality disorder, which is a clinical medical condition. Now, when I do life coaching, so one of the things that I always try to do, I give my people basically an intake form, and we try to go over questions and answers, goals, and all that kind of stuff. But soon as I start to determine that a person needs therapy, now it's a difference between being a life coach and being a therapist. And that's where sometimes I have to just be like, hey, you need to go to therapy. You're not ready for even what I'm about to try to do with you because you got some things you need to work on. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has some things they need to work on. But most of the time, narcissists, people who have narcissist traits, don't even know it. Don't even know it. They're oblivious to it. Those are the worst ones. Those are the worst ones because they'll act like they have no clue what you're saying. You have to literally break out a whole diagram and break down everything. And they don't like that. They do not like facts. They do not like being pulled to the carpet with facts at all. At all. They will disconnect, find some new people to hang with. So if you got a friend that when you bring them to the carpet and pull up the receipts and then they be like, all right, I'm out. That friend is already hip to the game. They like, nope, you found me out. I'm a narcissist. I'm out. I'm going to go find some new people to manipulate. So you were, and I got another comment like gaslighting. Women have been gaslighting for centuries. This is true. This is big facts. Big facts. So I say all that to say, like, to identify these people in your clique, you have to understand like the criteria and the list that we just had up on the screen. Now, everything now she said you typically got to have 5 of the 9, but that's for the disorder. But these are just traits that a person should have, a regular narcissist. So if you see somebody with these traits, and like I'm saying, like identify, like look at your friend group right now. Look at them. Really look at them. And when you look at them and you say, okay, who's really selfless? Who's really honest? Who's really, everybody has something. Everybody in your group has a trait. Like somebody is something. Okay? Somebody is something. And the thing is, don't get it twisted. Even the sweetest and the nicest people have narcissist traits. Even the person who thinks they don't do, because a lot of it is perception. It's not like we took a list of everything you've done in your life and we go, okay, narcissist, okay, overthinker, you know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. What we're saying is these traits valid and are they present? And when you really do that, you're going to see that everybody has a mixture of this stuff going on. Everybody does have a moment in time where it's about them, but is it always about them? Are their emotions better than everybody else's emotions? When they go through grief, is it like, okay, everybody pause. I'm going through grief. Everybody needs to pay attention to me. Is their grief even valid? I had a friend in college. I swear to God, every time, like he would have like family members who were like so distant. He'd be like, my cousins, sisters, uncles, cousins, best friends, lawnmower mechanic died. I can't make it today. Like, I'd be like, what? Like, who? When? And he would seriously get mad at us that we didn't care. And it wasn't the fact we didn't, this was his MO. Like he literally every week it was somebody or some distant situation. And those be those people who be like, when they start gaslighting, they be like, well, you don't care about my problems. You're not a good friend. And you be like, that's not a real problem. You know what I'm saying? We know what a real problem is. Your cousin's auntie's lawnmower mechanic falling in a ditch and hurting his knee ain't got nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying, us going to go play basketball at 4. But that person will make their emotions forefront in the group. And it'd be the simplest things. And then when it actually is something difficult, some people look in the comments, I can't see your name, but I do see the comment, and I just got one that said, I have some narcissistic traits. Hey, look, I'm a be honest. I have some too. I wouldn't say I have them all because I really feel like to a certain degree, I'm a real big empath because I care about people so much that I do too much for people. So I can't say that I'm like, full go, but I think every confident person, every person with goals and ambitions could come across as a narcissist, because to a lot of regular people who don't have those things, you're moving at a different speed. You're vibrating at a different rhythm. They don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So therefore they're like, oh, he's a narcissist. He's arrogant. He's conceited. He's this. When actually I'm just moving at a different speed. I'm vibrating at a different rhythm than your universe than mine. You know what I'm saying? So, but then I'll also admit that, yes, some of these traits, line up, because if you just read the words, yes, some of these traits are going to line up with everybody. Everybody. So let me throw this comment on the screen. That's what I'm saying. Like a real narcissist, that's how you can tell. If you questioning, is somebody a narcissist in your clique? Bring some receipts. Bring some real facts. Have an intervention. Bring some real facts and receipts. They gonna get so pissed. They gonna be so pissed, infuriated that right there will let you. And I've seen it happen. You've seen it happen too. You ever seen two siblings fight? And they get so deep off into it, and it'd be like, oh, remember that time? And they just like, they don't care who around, they don't care who here, they don't care whatever, because they going too far. Them be some people who got some narcissistic traits because the receipts infuriate them. Now, most people who are just like, okay, I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have said that. That's what a narcissist not gonna do. A narcissist gonna be like, oh, so that's what's the meme that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why your mama dead. They go all the way left, because it's like they get pissed when people bring receipts because they don't like to be pulled to the carpet for anything, especially a situation and a person that they're supposed to be controlling, a group of people that they're supposed to be controlling. Who are you to bring me to the carpet? And I get it. Some people say I run from a narcissist. Sometimes you don't even know you in it with them. And that's the whole reason I had to do this show tonight, is because sometimes you really don't know that you're even in it. You like thinking, okay, and granted, everybody doesn't know how to diagnose these traits. Some of people listen to the show tonight for the first time. They're like, okay, I didn't even know that. And so you're in relationships, and it's not just Like I said, not just a romantic relationship. You're in church relationships. Everybody got that person in church who everything about them. Not just the choir need to be doing it. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Narcissistic traits. Narcissistic traits. You have to know this stuff, because if you don't know, this is just same thing with like love languages. If you know a person's love language, you know how to deal with them. If you know a little bit about their personality trait, you know how to deal with them or not deal with them. So it's one of the things I try to say on the show is you got to do the work if you dealing with people, because if you dealing with people, that's life. That's life. Like if you got a job, you got a church, you got friends, you got social gatherings, you got all this stuff, you're dealing with people. So if you don't become good at dealing with people, you're going to always start to just shrink. And then it stops you from growing. And I know so many people who be stuck in like, they don't know why I don't know why my friends treat me this way. I don't know why, my family treat me this way. Start to understand who they are. You know what I'm saying? If you can understand who they are, and sometimes it's just like some people you just got to let go. Like some people with narcissistic traits, I can't even deal with. Excuse me. I can't even deal with people with a lot of narcissistic traits because everything becomes counterproductive. You can't move forward because you keep coming back to them. And you'll see it in a group of people. Everything will be moving forward. And then it's one person. Oh, no, we got to bring it back. It's about me. Come on, bring it back. You can't go forward. So that's one of the big reasons for doing the show tonight. Look, I'm going to pull this up on the screen one more time. The lack of empathy. They don't care. You'll see it. They'll in the gaslighting. That's the biggest one, and I think that's the one that a lot of the women I talk to, the gaslighting is the one that they don't understand when it's happening. Excuse me. When a narcissist gaslights you. For one, it's like, put it like this. Let's say you're in a romantic relationship. That narcissist has those traits and those empathy. They're trying to control your mind. They're trying to control like how you think and how you feel about the relationship. Like they're trying to let you know, like they try to pull you away also. They try to isolate you. So like you might have a friend group or whatever before you start dealing with them. But before you know it, they like, you really don't need them, man. You really don't need them people. All you really need is me. We supposed to be like this between each other. This is just me and you. They start to isolate you. Then they start to make you think like their life is, the greatest thing that ever happened to you. Them being in your like, like think of everything that changed for you since you got shoes now, girl. Nah, that's a gaslighter. And the narcissist gaslighter is the worst. That's the worst. That's the creme de la creme. Because they not only are they don't care because that empathy, think about it, the stuff they say to you, the manipulation, how much they're trying to control you, your property to them. And the thing is, a lot of leaders are like this. A lot of leaders. And I'm going to say it. A lot of church leaders are like this. And it takes a lot for those people to ever get pulled to the carpet because it goes against everything you've been taught spiritually. So it's like I'm not even going to say most, but there's some church leaders who are true narcissists. Just to the truest point. And the thing is, everybody be like, nah, he care or she care or whatever. See, caring is a part of their blinding light. The show, the performance. So you got to be really weary about that. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen that. I've seen people get manipulated and took for everything they own in that situation. So you got to be you gotta have, that's why I said you gotta do the work to know people. Like you can't, it's too much information out there nowadays for you to sit back and not get the information to better yourself, to help yourself grow. If you don't, at this point of it, you know what I'm saying? Like you can get on the internet and learn anything. You can get on YouTube and learn anything. You could become a dang on clinical PhD, whatever, off the internet now. You got to start doing the work. So, look, I'm not going to be on here long tonight. If you notice, I'm trying to keep my shows to about 30 minutes because I will get to rambling and I will get to going on for 45, 55, 65, 70. But listen, I wanted to talk about this tonight. I wanted to help somebody out with exposing like what these narcissistic traits are. What's the difference between a narcissistic trait and having a personality disorder? Because like I said, one is just having traits. One is an actual clinical diagnosis. And people actually get help and treatment and can recover. But they are different. But I want to thank you guys for listening tonight. Listen, first off, in my opinion, with Time Swoop, episode 2, season 4 is done. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you again in the next one.